Very hello students. In this way I am coming on Unacademy platform for CET classes, but actually I am taking NEET for everyone. Okay, because in NEET only all the state exams, medical exam has been included. So all of you can join me in the Unacademy classes and you can avail the facility. I take special classes student especially for all of you because all the classes are absolutely free. You people need not to pay a single rupee from your pocket, and you can utilize completely the classes, and it will be very useful for every one of you student if you follow the classes. Similarly, every day I am taking classes for the students on Unacademy. Generally I follow the timing, that is from 3 to 4 and 8 to 9. 8 to 9 is a fixed time students, I'll tell you. Night 8 to 9, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. is a fixed timing I take classes for Unacademy students, and that will be very beneficial. So what I have started doing this, I'll be recording the sessions and putting on YouTube, but if you come for a live class, it will be really interactive and useful for all of you. So if you come for the classes, this will generally help every one of you, and this will be properly guiding you through. It will be a guide post, it will be guiding all of you and will be helping you to attain good marks in the coming exam. So let's start it, let's crack it in this way. Prepare nicely for the 2021 or class 12 student as well as class 11 student. We are going to prepare in this way, and I make sure that all students are going to get good marks. So all the best and all of you, and with Unacademy, let's crack it. Thank you all of you, and we'll meet in the next class students. Shall we start all of you? Okay students. So you see, when you go for an Unacademy Plus classes, again that is very beneficial for every one of you. Yes, that is beneficial for every one of you. And how does it benefits you? Let's see. So it is going to be absolutely good experience for all the students. It is going to become a very good experience for all the students. Okay, yeah. And because the complete syllabus is going to be covered, tips and tricks will be given by the top educators, as you see. Then a topic wise question paper discussion will be done. A very topic wise relevant question paper discussion will be done, and there will be a full length mock test which is given to all the students. A full length mock test is given to all the students. A 1 month subscription comes out to be around 2,250 rupees till September. And if you students use my code, then it is going to be again helpful to you, because there will be a flat 10% of discount. A flat 10% discount will be given. You may not be knowing it, but let me tell you, there is a new batch which has come. Okay, there is a new batch which has commenced now, and that is a comprehensive batch for Karnataka CET 2021. ECMB, all the classes are going on. You can join that. Let me go to the last slide now of this promotion slides. That is the best plan for the Karnataka. If you see 12-month plan I feel is more better, because if you go for a 6-month plan, you can see the rate difference is hardly a little, 2,000 some rupees is the difference of the rate. So I would definitely suggest you people to go for a 12-month plan. Okay, so that is always good for everyone of you. And 1 month plan is again, this is which if you want to try, then you can go for a 1 month plan. And these are some of the features. You can see there is a premium content, structured courses, quizzes will be there, then batches will be complete preparation, test series, DPP, full length tests, okay, with analysis, single subscription. If you see, unlimited access will be given to all of you. There is a provision of unlimited access. So these are some of the very much good benefits which you people, students are going to get students. So that is also one very good cause for which you can think of going for it. But whenever you choose any kind of, you definitely do not forget to use the code. If you use this code, you get a 10% of flat discount, which you will not get, okay, if you don't choose it. Flat discount is there. Okay students, now let us go to the topic now. So in the last class, if you remember, we started with the human reproduction. The last class we started with the human reproduction, and now this is the time we are going to go with the next part. So let me upload a file for every one of you, specially prepared for all of you, and then we'll go ahead. Very good evening, Kriti. Kriti has also joined. Good beta. Very good evening. Okay, so we'll go with the next slide of the human reproduction. Okay, yes, good evening. So let us do a little more update and everything in the part that is the human reproduction. I hope the slide is visible to every one of you. Is it visible? Is the slide visible to every one of you? Okay, good students. Okay, so yeah, great, that's great. So we'll go ahead and let's try to see what all we have. So human reproduction, second slide we are doing, student, right now. For the human reproduction, second slide we are completing right now, students. Okay. So this is the second lecture we are going to do today, and let's see how are we going to learn the complete part. Let's go ahead and see. So we had learned about all the accessory ducts in the last class. All the accessory ducts in the last class we have discussed, and now today we are going to discuss about the accessory glands. How are the accessory glands present and how are they going to be useful for the individual and how they will be providing a complete support and help to the individual. Let us do that. Shall we? Are you all ready? Shall we go ahead? Okay. Let's try that again. Okay, great students. That's the level of the Intu. I really like enthusiastic students. That's really nice. Good. So we go for the first one, that is the seminal vesicle. Let's go with the seminal vesicle. You see, seminal vesicle, prostate gland and Cowper's gland. These are the accessory gland which we are going to learn today in a more detail. Seminal vesicle, prostate gland and Cowper's gland we are going to learn in a little more detailed structure we are going to see. Very good evening, Gaurav. Yes, sir, one doubt. Do birds have monocondylic or dicondylic skull? Kriti beta, the birds have got a completely, I'll just tell you, see, fishes, I'll write over here. One doubt has come, let me clear this doubt. Fishes plus reptiles plus birds, they all have a monocondylic skull. Monocondylic skull. The moment we go to amphibia plus mammals, they have got a dicondylic skull. I hope your doubt has got cleared. Yes? Okay, good, Kriti. Okay, so the human, and if we talk about the human beings as well as if we talk about the other individuals, that is the amphibians, they have got a dicondylic skull, whereas the fishes, reptile and birds have got a monocondylic skull. Okay, you're most welcome, Kriti. Let's go ahead. So these three glands we are going to learn in a little more detail. We'll try to understand how these three glands are going to be helpful and functional in the individual. Let us try to learn that. Let's go ahead, students. Great. So you see, we'll start with the first one, that is the seminal vesicle. We'll go with this particular gland, that is the seminal vesicle. You see, when you go to the seminal vesicle, these are a pair of musculoglandular sac. Musculoglandular sac means with the help of the muscle contraction, with the help of the muscular contraction, then they are going to release the seminal fluid. So we call it as a musculoglandular cells, cells which contains skeletal muscles, okay, or smooth muscles. Along with that, the tissue is going to be formed, that is musculoglandular structure. So we find that it has got a musculoglandular structure sac, it has, and secretes seminal fluid. What is it going to secrete? That is the seminal fluid, and constituent of the complete semen is 60 to 70 amount of the total constituent comes out to be seminal fluid. That's a big quantity, student. So I'm going to mark it with a different color. That is, if we consider it to be 60 to 70% of the total semen, that means it is quite a huge chunk, student. It's a quite huge chunk we can see over here. Then composition, what are the composition of the complete, that is the seminal fluid? Let's go with that part. So what are the composition of the seminal fluid? Number one comes out to be is fructose. Fructose helps in the nourishment of the complete sperm. Now that's a wrong answer. Fructose doesn't help in the nourishment of the sperm. They are used for the energy of the tail. Okay, they are used for the energy of the tail. So normally if they ask a question and they give an option that is nourishment of the sperm, for NEET it will work, but the moment you go to AIIMS, JIPMER and AFMC. When you go to AIIMS, JIPMER and AFMC, yes, AIIMS, JIPMER and AFMC, we can easily get to know that it is not for the nourishment of the sperm, rather it is going to be utilized. It is going to be utilized for the complete energy production. So it is going to be utilized. One second, just give me a moment. It is going to be utilized for energy production. For energy production it is going to be used, and that is the most important thing which we are going to see, student. One very basic fact, one very important thing which we are going to see, student. Next comes out to be is, if you see the next context, it also contains prostaglandin. It also contains, that is the prostaglandin. What is the use of the prostaglandin? You see, it stimulates the contraction of the genital tract. Absolutely correct. It is going to stimulate the complete, that is the contraction of the genital tract is going to be done over there. Prostaglandin is again one of the prostaglandin, again when we take on account, student, it is one of the structure. Yes, prostaglandin is one of the structure, if you see, student. So this is basically going to be seen, prostaglandin, if you see, this is basically going to be seen, it's a complete, that is the vasodilation it does. It's a very good vasodilator. I'll write it over here. It is a prostaglandin is a vasodilator. I'll just write it over here. We make the edges. It becomes easy for me. Yeah. It's a very prominent, potent vasodilator. It's a potent vasodilator. Okay, it's a very potent vasodilator, prostaglandin. And of course, after that we have got another content which is present, that is called as fibrinogen, which is nothing but the fibrinogen, student. You see, fibrinogen. Along with that we have got the ascorbic acid. Okay, along with that we have again got another structure, that is the proteins, which helps in the coagulation of the semen. They help in the coagulation of the semen. Okay. So these are some of the structure which the component, okay, constitution component which are present in the seminal fluid. So we have to learn about this, we have to understand this, and through that now we'll go to the next slide. Let us see. Prostate gland is one of the important gland. You see there is a diagram also which I'll just zoom it and I'll show it to you how it is present and how does it function, student. Prostate gland, the functioning and everything I'll show you. Now what you are going to see over here, the prostate gland, you see, it is a gland which is surrounded by, it's a gland which is surrounded by at the proximal part of the urethra. At the proximal means at the complete end part. Proximal means the end part, it is completely attached. Secretion is 20 to 30%. You see, 60 to 70% was the seminal fluid. 20 to 30% of the secretion is coming out to be from the prostate gland. Acha, prostate gland inflammation in the last class, today's last class we have discussed. Prostate gland inflammation is also called as prostatitis. Okay, prostatitis, that is the inflammation of the prostate gland, students, which we are going to see. Similarly, we are also going to find that the complete, that is the cancer of the prostate gland is called as a condition. A cancer of the prostate gland is called as a condition, that is called as prostate cancer. So we have read about two new terms which we have come account. Okay, we have come around two new terms which we are going to learn, student. Let us see what are these two new terms. So we have learned about prostate cancer and prostatitis. So it is and prostate cancer and prostatitis are the two conditions which we are going to see. Secretion of the alkaline, okay, there is a secretion of alkaline nature. Now what is the composition, what is the use of the prostate secretion? Okay, it contains citric acid, very important. I'll tell you why. Because it is going to neutralize the complete, okay, it is citric acid, it is going to completely help in the complete movement and also the prevention of the complete sperm movement and flow through the urethra. That is one. Citric acid also contains prostaglandin. Okay, citric acid enzyme also contains prostaglandin, neutralizes the acidity of the vas deferens. Okay, it neutralizes the acid because it contains alkaline nature. So it is going to, yes. Hello Gaurav, yes, I remember I have to send you one link, no, of the previous class. I'll send you, beta. I'll remember today. I'll send you. Do text me. Okay, do text me. I'll be sending you the complete link of the previous class. Okay, great. Okay. So vas deferens is there, and on a female genital tract can be seen, which nourishes and activates the sperm. It is also going to nourish as well as the activation of the sperm is going to be done. Removal of this gland, if this gland is removed, leads to sterility in male. Very important point. This is how they ask in AIIMS. Okay. What will happen if the prostate gland is removed? It leads to the sterility in male. Male won't be able to be potent to be giving that is the fertilization, and all the process cannot take place in the human male. That cannot be seen, student, because of this sterility in males. What we are doing. I hope this thing is understood to every one of you. Shall we go next? Okay. Before going to the next students, yes, before going to the next student, let us see the diagram once. We'll see the diagram. Yes, I'll just zoom into the diagram so that we can see the diagram once, how the prostate gland is there. Because separately for the prostate gland, none of the book has given a better diagram. So we'll see this diagram first. Okay, it has got a, you see this is the urinary bladder. Then we have got the seminal vesicle, okay, which is there, through which the sperm will be passing. Okay, then we have got the prostate gland, which provides the complete alkaline medium. Okay, this is how we have. So through this, the complete vonomantum, the complete secretion of the prostate gland is going to come. Seminal vesicle is going to come. That is how we see seminal vesicle with the help of vonomantum is going to come down. And that is how, and last we have got the urethral part through which it is going to come out. Okay, urogenital tract, why do we call it as? Because urine as well as the gametes are going to be transferred through the same pathway, so we call it as a urogenital tract. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, and Cowper's gland, the third gland which was left was the Cowper's gland. Let's try to learn a little more about the Cowper's gland. And well, the Cowper's gland, when we are learning, is an important gland which we are going to see. One of the very important glands which we are going to see, students, that is the Cowper's gland. Let's see one by one. So also called as bulbourethral gland. Acha. In male we call it as Cowper's gland, but in female we call it as bulbourethral gland. Okay, Cowper's gland is called only in case of males. But the moment I talk about the bulbourethral gland comes in females. We take it in female, bulbourethral gland. We say no, this is a homolog gland which is present in the females, bulbourethral gland, which is a homologous gland present in the female. Male and female, many of the reproductive structures are homologous, right? Like clitoris is very much similar to the glans penis. We have seen, right? We have seen all this. A pair of glands below the prostate gland. This is a paired gland, you see. This is a paired gland and is present below the prostate gland on the either side. We find it to be present on the either side of the membranous urethra. On the either side of the membranous urethra we are going to find. What does it do? Secretes alkaline mucus which neutralizes the acid nature of the urine as well as lubricates the penis and the urethra. That is what we are going to find. That means it will be useful during the copulation. A gland which is going to be useful during the copulation. So I'll just write it over here. Okay. So it is going to be useful during the copulation. So it is going to be useful during the copulation. Let's see the structure. The structure has become little hazy. So, but we'll try to figure out how it is. You see how the diagram is. Diagram, I guess, is visible to every one of you. There is a vesicular gland is present. Then we have got the prostate gland over here. Bulbourethral gland is present, student, right over here. Okay. Ductus deferens means it is the vasa deferentia. This is the pelvis region. The bladder is there. Now this sigmoid flexure is important because of this sigmoid flexure only, the complete, that is the sperm comes out with a motion, a speed, a pace. It is going to be ejected out. So the ejection of the, yes, because of this, the ejection of the sperm is with a little motion. I'll write it over here. Ejection of sperm is with a motion. Okay, with a force, with a motion, it is going to be ejected outside the body, student. That is one very important fact which we are going to see, student, which we are going to find. Okay, shall we solve some questions? Shall we solve some questions? Okay, let us see. Yeah, sure. We'll be doing that. So we'll be solving one question. Tell me if the question is appearing on the screen or not. I hope the question is appearing on the screen, student. And your time starts now. I hope the question is appearing on the screen, beta. Refresh your screen, Kriti, beta, once again. I guess it is appearing on rest of students' screen. Beta, you refresh your screen once. Okay, good. So what do we see? What should be the answer, student? Give me the answer quickly. What should be the answer? Quickly answer, all of you. Okay, great, students. Very good. Everyone has answered very correctly. That answer comes out to be very good. Moni, Kriti, Amisha, Nancy, Rachana, everyone has answered very nicely. Very good, students. And rest of you also have answered very quickly. The answer comes out to be is the epididymis, definitely. Second is the right answer, epididymis. The development you see of the sperm is going to take place over there only. That's in epididymis. Sperms are stored and nourished inside the epididymis. There only they gain the tail movement. There only they are going to gain the tail movement, student. That is what we are going to find out. Okay. So this is how is the complete epididymis, where it is going to be stored, and testis is the site for the production of the sperm. That's what we see. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, external genitalia. Now, external genitalia of male we are going to learn, students. What are the external genitalia and how does it appears, student? Let us try to see that. How does the external genitalia appears? Okay. Number one comes out to be is, okay, good. Number one comes out to be is the penis. That is, it is the male copulatory organ. It is the male copulatory organ which we see. The tip is called as the glans penis, which is covered by a retractile foreskin, which can cover up the complete, that is the glans penis. We call it as a prepuce. It contains three cylindrical erectile tissue, that is a pair of corpora cavernosa and unpaired corpora spongiosa, which is present, that is the ventrally, which is present ventrally. We find that it is going to be present, ventrally, student. We find it to be present ventrally. One very important fact, this is present ventrally, and these are present dorsally. Dorsally means on the sides it is present. Let's go to the diagram of the TS, transverse section of the penis, and we'll have a look how does it appear. So this is the complete diagram. You see neurovascular bundle is present. There is a neurovascular bundle which is going to be present. Along with that, we will find that there is a urethra. This center is the urethra, student. This is the urethra part. As we have seen, ventrally is present is corpus or corpora spongiosum, corpus spongiosum or corpora spongiosa, and on the side that is present is the left corpora cavernosa or right corpora cavernosa. Acha, corpus cavernosum also we say when we take it in a singular form. In cavernosum also we say when we take it in a singular form. So it all depends upon the terminology, whether we are using a double, that is a paired structure, or a unpaired structure. That how we are going to look into students. Have you all understood till here? So this is something really important, student, which we are going to see. Good, very good, students. Okay. So these are some of the structure you see. If you see cavernosa, it's a highly vascular structure. Cavernosa is a highly vascular structure filled with a lot of blood arteries and veins. Okay, and thus the blood will be filled inside, which leads to the, or which are going to help in the erection. Okay, so they are filled with the blood. They are filled with the blood. And helps in erection. Helps in erection, student. That is one very important part we are going to see, student. Okay, great. Shall we go next? Now we go to a term that is called as spermatogenesis. Now there are certain very important facts regarding the spermatogenesis which we are going to discuss today. Some of the very important facts which we are going to discuss today for spermatogenesis. You see, when we go to this term spermatogenesis, the spermatogenesis completes in around 64 days. It takes around 64 days for the completion of one batch of sperm. So the moment it says that is 64 days, that means we are talking about one batch of sperm. I can easily say it is talking about one batch of sperm. One batch of sperm they are talking about. Now, next what we are going to find, that is Golgi complex forms the acrosome of the tip of the sperm. We'll see the structure of the sperm, don't worry. Just see. Now Golgi complex is going to form the acrosome. That is a very important fact, student. One of the very important facts, that is the Golgi complex get completely converted into a structure that is called as acrosome. Then elongation and condensation of the nucleus is going to take place because the sperm itself is a elongated structure. Since it is a elongated structure, so the nucleus also gets elongated. Not only that, the mitochondria becomes spiral. Development of the mitochondrial spiral. You see, formation of the axial filament. What type of axial filament do they have? Answer comes out to be, they will ask you in the Ames Jipmer, the answer comes out to be 9+2 arrangement, which is found in eukaryotic cells. 9 axial and 2 central filaments are found. 9+2 arrangement. 9 axial, okay, and 2 central. 9 peripheral outside and 2 central. We are going to see 9+2 arrangement. 9+2 arrangement can be seen, student, easily in this particular condition. 9+2 arrangement can be seen. So this is one of the very important factor which we are going to notice right now. So 9 cylinders will be in the periphery. Let us draw it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. And 2 cylinders will be present in the center like this and attached. You must be remembering the cytoskeletal structure. If you all remember the cytoskeletal structure, cartwheel structure which we have read, cartwheel structure. Mitochondria becomes spiral. Spiral mitochondria is called as, we have named it, we call it as Nebenkern. AFMC question, Nebenkern. We call it as Nebenkern. AFMC question. The spiral mitochondria of the sperm has a specific name called as Nebenkern. Nebenkern. All students are requested, when you people are joining, you join with a notebook. please take a notebook with all of you, write all the special points. Lecture number 2, a special point on the spermatogenesis. These all things you people need to write, keep writing. When your hand works, your brain works. So always whenever the lecture is going on, keep scribbling something on the complete sheet, keep scribbling something on the sheet. So when your brain works, okay, the hand should work. If your brain wants to work, the hand should also work, students. That is very important. I hope you are getting me, students, what I am trying to say. I hope everyone is able to follow what I am trying to say. So it's very important, student. So whenever you are in the class, you have to come with a pen and a notebook. Zoology class, everyone is going to write few things in their notebook, because with some of the things I don't write in the slide, I directly, no, I'm going to dictate it. Some of the things I directly dictate, I don't write in the slides. Okay. So you see, after spermiation, the sperms, what do you mean by spermiation? Okay. The sperms are stored in the proximal part of the vas deferens for 30 days. It is going to be stored for 30 days, we see, and attain their motility in this period. I said you that the tail movement is gained. The tail movement will be gained in this duration only. Tail movement is gained. Okay. The tail movement is attained. In this particular time slot only, the tail movement is going to be attained, student. That is one very important fact we are going to find during spermatogenesis. Let's see through a diagram and will be easy. It will be easy for all of you to understand. Shall I zoom this diagram a little? Let's zoom it. Okay, good. Yes. Okay, great. Yeah. Now you can see very easily, we can see over here, the seminiferous tubule is present in the testis, where we have got the spermatogonial cell. Spermatogonial cell is also called as sperm mother cell. Okay, sperm mother cells. We also call it as sperm mother cell, students. We also call it as a sperm mother cell. Okay, then yes, then you see they undergo mitosis. They all are 2N, diploid structure, 2N, diploid structure. Daughter cell, that is type A spermatogonia, comes out of it, type A, and daughter cell type B will come out of it, type A and type B. Type A will be stored as a reserve. Type A is stored as a reserve. This part you didn't know before. It is stored as reserve. Stored in reserve. They are stored in reserve, type A cells. Now what will happen to type B cell? Type B is spermatogonial cell. They undergo growth and differentiation. Important question. What happens to the spermatogonial cells? That's a question. What happens to the spermatogonial cells? They undergo growth and differentiation. They do not divide. They undergo growth and differentiation. Spermatogonial cells, they undergo growth and differentiation. They do not divide. Important question. They do not divide. They undergo growth and differentiation, and leads to the formation of the primary spermatocyte. They lead to the formation of primary spermatocyte. Okay. Many of these students, this part is weak, so listen very carefully. Many of the students, this particular part is weak, so listen very carefully. Primary spermatocyte is 2N, again diploid. Then they undergo first meiosis, that is meiosis 1. They undergo meiosis 1. When they undergo meiosis 1, then they develop into N, haploid. And then the term comes, that is the secondary spermatocyte. So it leads to secondary spermatocyte. And when again the meiosis 2 occurs, when the meiosis 2 is completed, we get 4 spermatids coming out. Why they are given in different colors? There is a reason of giving different colors. That means all are genetically different. Blue, green, red and yellow. Why they have given blue, green, red and yellow? Because all of them are genetically different. They do not resemble genetically same. They resemble genetically different. So 4 different colors are given. And you see all are spherical. All structures are spherical and later it becomes tailed. Okay, so the moment it comes and is spherical, sperms are spherical, we call it as spermatids. And when it gains its tail, we call it as spermatozoa. When it gains its tail, then we call it as a spermatozoa. You see, now it gains its tail, and that will be only, they will gain the tail only when they are attached to the Sertoli cells. After being attached to the Sertoli cells, then they are called as, then they gain the then they gain the tail and is called as. Sir, but doesn't meiosis causes 4 haploid cells to occur? Definitely it causes, but after meiosis 2. Meiosis causes 4 haploid cells to occur. You see, you get 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Beta, you have to remember that meiosis 1 is not, meiosis is not completed at meiosis 1 kriti. Meiosis gets completed at meiosis 2. So initially it forms 2 haploid cell, and meiosis 2 is nothing but mitosis. Right? Okay, sir, got it. Very good, very good. So this is one very basic concept. Many of the students, they have doubts in it, and that is how we get the complete 4 spermatozoas. And after attaching to the Sertoli cells, acha, when they leave their outer covering, and they come out, that particular phenomenon is called as hatching. We call it as hatching. You see, this cover will come out and we call it as hatching. We call it as hatching, Hatching. This term is important. It was asked in JIPMER. Hatching term was asked in JIPMER. People were thinking hatching of eggs can happen. Hatching of sperm can also happen. Hatching of ova can also happen. Hatching of zygote can even happen. So hatching term can be used at different stages, students. Hatching terms can be used at different stages, students. This possibility is definitely over there. Have you all understood? Has everyone understood this concept? Good. Great, students. Let's go to the next. Acha, shall we solve one more question? Shall we work out with one more question? Great, students. Very good. Is the question appearing on all of your screen? I'll start with the polling. Let's see what will be your answer. Answer quickly, students. Answer quickly, students. The role of the Leydig cells of the testis is provide nourishment through, okay, is to provide the, yes, tell me what should be the answer. Good, very good, students. Many of you are marking the answer also. Great. Very good. Kriti has marked first. Very good. Great, great, students. I'll show you the leadership board also. Okay. Very good. Kriti, Moni, Amisha, Prashant. Good, Rachna. Come up quickly, all of you. Gaurav, D. Very good. Correct answer. Answer is D. Fourth option is the correct answer, Gaurav. That's absolutely correct. Many of you are not getting the options polling also. I know that. Some of the students, Rachna, Amisha and all, many of them, they were saying that they are not going the polling option. I can understand that, but you can write it in the chat box. What can be the answer? If suppose you don't get the polling option, you can write it in the chat box, students, and then you can get to know. Very good, students. All of you are marking absolutely correct answer. That's really great. Shall we go to the next page? Okay, let's go to the next page. You see, this is how is the structure of the sperm, how it looks like. Okay, one brainstormer, sir. Okay, I'll get you the brainstormer also. Okay, fine. We'll do that also. Okay, so we have got you see, this is the head region of the sperm. If you see the diagram, I guess the diagram is clearly visible to everyone. This is the head part. This is called as the head cap. We call it as a head cap. Okay, students? Okay, now, so we call this as a head cap. Head cap region, and here only we'll see the complete, that is the decapacitation is going to happen, student. Here only we find that there will be a decapacitation which is going to occur, student. Then you see that is the reason we have got the acrosome. Golgi complex, modified Golgi complex leads to the formation of acrosome. We have got the nucleus in the head part. Then we have got the middle piece. Achha, this part is called as neck part. This is also called as neck part. This complete stretch is called as neck part, where we have got the centriole. Okay, where we have got the centriole. Then we have got the middle piece. You see, middle piece. If you see in the middle piece, we have got the complete mitochondria. That is the Nebenкern. Nebenкern we have got. Then we have got the complete tail part, which has got a flagella and a tail sheath. Achha, there is a covering surrounding it. There is a covering surrounding it. Okay, and we call it as a forchit. And there is a covering surrounding it. We call it as a manchit. Forchit and manchit we call it as. And we have done this in the question, student. You must be remembering it. We have done it in the questions also. Do you all remember that? Great, students. Shall we go next? Shall we go next? Okay, great. So we have got the flagella and the tail sheath is present. You can see tail sheath and flagella. And the movement of the sperm occur in this manner, whirling manner. We call it as a whirling manner. The movement always takes place in whirling manner. It is never like this, zigzag. It is never like zigzag. It is whirling. It is whirling movement. The tail shows a whirling movement. Okay, great. We'll go to the structure of the sperm. Let's see head part. One by one, let's go to the head part first. So we have got the head part, and what does it entail? Shall we solve one question? Then we'll go to the rest of the thing. Shall we go to one question? Let's solve one question. Okay, good. Now this is a complete, that is the scholar batch question, brainstormer. Let's see whether you people are able to solve the brainstormer or not. Okay, students. So is the question visible to all of you? Is the question visible to all of you? Just tell me. Yes, great. The question, no, okay. Oh, didn't come. Okay, no problem. I'll do one thing. I'll upload a question paper. I'll upload the complete question paper so that you can solve it. Let me upload the question paper. Okay. I'm uploading a absolute question paper. I want all of you to solve it once. Okay. Now this is the question, student. The reti testis is highly anastomosing labyrinth lined. It is a highly anastomosing labyrinth lined by. So what will be the answer? Number A, cuboidal epithelium. Number B. Okay, what should be the answer? Then we have got the simple squamous epithelium, then columnar epithelium and tessellated epithelium. So what should be the answer, student? Let's start with the polling. Let's see how many of you are marking the right answer. Quickly mark the answer, students. Very good. Rachna has marked very quickly. Great. Good. Many of you are marking the right answer, student. I can see that. And the answer comes out to be very good. Okay, the answer comes out to be is B option. That is, it is made up of cuboidal epithelium. Let me share the leaderboard. And great student. You see, now Rachna has come up with a very good ranking. Kriti again, good. Ashish, good. So students are coming up with their marks also. That's really great. So we are going to find out that answer comes out to be is the B option. That is absolutely right answer. That is cuboidal epithelium. It's going to be lined with the cuboidal epithelium. That's really great. Good student. Okay, now let's go to the chapter part. We'll go into the chapter part now. Okay. Now head part, that is the acrosome. We were solving this part. Head part, that is the acrosome. Let's go into the acrosomal part. Acrosome consists of a sperm lysine, and that is hyaluronidases, and corona dissolving enzyme, that is acrosine is present. Corona dissolving enzyme, that is the acrosine is present. Neck has got two centrioles. The neck part has got the two centrioles. That is the proximal centrioles. It has got a distal centriole. Distal centriole will always be towards the axial filaments. The distal centriole is little away, that is towards the axial filament. Okay, and we find the proximal centriole is towards the neck region. Proximal centriole, if you talk about, then it is present towards the neck region. So it is towards the neck region. And proximal centriole, it penetrates into the egg. Proximal centriole along with the head penetrates into the egg. Proximal centriole along with the head, it penetrates into the complete, that is the egg. So I'll write it over here, penetrate into the egg. During fertilization it is going to penetrate. Acha, if I ask you a question, a simple question, when does the meiosis 2 of egg completes? What should be your answer? When does the meiosis 2 of egg is going to complete? After fertilization. Very good, Kriti. Absolutely right answer. After fertilization, the meiosis 2 completes in case of the egg. That means second polar body will be released. What does that mean? Second polar body will be released after fertilization. Second polar body will be released after fertilization. That's absolutely correct answer. Absolutely correct action. Very good. Keep it up, Kriti. Very good. Well done. Let's go to the next part. Middle piece. Let's learn a little about the middle piece and try to see what is there in the middle piece part. When we go to the middle piece, what we are going to see is it is the powerhouse of the sperm because it contains the mitochondria. You see it's spiral. We call it as Nebenкern. As we have seen before, it is called as Nebenкern. Then comes out to be is the tail part. When we go to the tail part, what do we see? The tail part, it consists of the complete meals, that is the proximal plasma lemma, that is the membrane, plus cytoplasm and axial filament. As you all remember, axial filament was 9 plus 2 arrangement because it's a eukaryotic cell. 9 plus 2 arrangement since it is a eukaryotic cells. Very good. Great students. Okay, that is one very important part we see. Then we have got the end piece, that is the distal centriole. Okay, and the axial filament will be present over there. Axial filament will be present in that particular part. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, this is the hormonal regulation, one very important concept which I have tried to denote it with a diagram. One of the very important concepts, student, which I have tried to denote with the diagram. How the complete spermatogenesis occurs and how does it take place. You see, first we'll see all the positive feedback. The red one shows a negative feedback. The red one shows a negative feedback, and the blue one shows the above blue. Blue has got two parts, you see. The above blue shows a positive feedback and the lower blue shows our negative feedback. So the positive feedback, I'll write it with green. 1, okay, and 2 are positive feedback. Negative feedback, I'll write with red. 3 and 4. Okay, 3 and 4 are with the negative feedback. 1 and 2 are with the positive feedback, student. 1 and 2 are with the positive feedback. 3 and 4 are with the negative feedback. You should remember. You see, let's start. Hypothalamus. It produces GnRH. What is GnRH? Gonadotropic releasing hormone. And it comes to the pituitary with a positive feedback. And what does pituitary releases? It releases two hormones, FSH plus LH. Okay, also called as ICSH. We also call it as ICSH. Okay, now these two hormones together is called as gonadotropin. These two hormones is together called as gonadotropin. Let me just mark it. We call it as a gonadotropin. This gonadotropin, LH and FSH. Now you see, we'll go a little downward. FSH stimulates meiosis in the primary spermatocytes and forms the immature sperm cells. FSH stimulates secretion of inhibin by supporting cells. LH, that is the ICSH, also stimulates the interstitial cells, you see, and secretes primary testosterone. It leads to the formation of testosterone. Have you all understood students? That is how we are going to find FSH and LH which are going to function. Goes to the testis. Now testis will release androgen and inhibin. What will be the androgen? Androgen will be the testosterone. Okay, testosterone which is going to be. So testosterone will be releasing. All male character along with the development of the reproductive organ is going to take place. This takes place during the puberty and then throughout life in male. So in male we do not have andropause. The way in female we have got menopause, in male we do not have andropause. Why? Why we do not have andropause in male? Because the complete gonadotropin is released throughout life. Gonadotropin is going to be released throughout life. So we do not have any such thing called as andropause. Have you all understood? Have you all understood? Now you see, it is released into the bloodstream, stimulation, and there is an inhibition also which is going to be done. When the amount of testosterone increases, then inhibin is activated. Androgen stimulates the development, okay, of male secondary sexual character. What are male secondary sexual character? Beard, mustache, okay, male voice which is going to be developing, and sperm cells formation, that is spermatogenesis also. Then whenever it increases, you see, androgen prevents the over secretion of LH. It also prevents the over secretion of LH, and inhibin prevents the over secretion of FSH, and androgen prevents the over secretion of LH, and androgen prevents the over secretion of GnRH. So all together it is going to function, student. All together it is going to function, student, and that is how the complete regulation of spermatogenesis is going to be done from the brain. From the brain it is going to happen, student. We have already seen that. Let's go to the next slide. Let us wind up with all the slides. Okay, only 2 slides are there. Let us wind up with all the slides so that session 2 will be done. Tomorrow again we have a class from 3 to 4 and 8 to 9. Always remember the timing, student. 3 to 4 and 8 to 9. That is the timing which I am using now. 8 to 9 is a permanent. 3 to 4 only. Sometime I change, else it remains same. One brainstormer, sir. Okay, I will give you one brainstormer. Fine. We'll solve one brainstorm. Which of the following gland consists 30 to 40 tubulo-alveolar glands supported in the first part of the urethra? In the first part of the urethra. Question number 7. Question number 7, student. Question number 7. What should be the answer? Let's start polling. Let's start polling. Very good. Give the answer. Very good. As Kriti has given the answer. Yes. Answer quickly. All of you answer quickly. Very good, students. Only yes, time up now. It's a time up. Great. Okay, very good. Kriti has given a right answer. All rest students also have given a correct answer for this question. That's really great. So answer comes out to be is the yes, absolutely. It comes out to be prostate gland. That is the C option. Comes out to be a right answer. Let's finish off with the chapter, student. Let's finish off with the chapter. Let me go into the chapter now. Now you see testosterone. Testosterone, what is the function? They help in the growth, maintenance and function of the secondary sexual organs and accessory ducts, which we can see. Then we have got the FSH that helps in the growth and function of the seminiferous tubules, students. That is one thing we find. Then we have got the ICSH. It stimulates the Leydig cell and secretion of testosterone. GnRH, that is FSH, and ICH, that is LH release, and inhibin suppresses the FSH. These all options you have to remember, students. These all options you have to remember. These are very important points. Questions are definitely asked on these topics. They are going to be asked on these topics, students. So these are some of the correct answer we see. Summary we see. We have got the today what all did we study today? Today we have studied accessory gland. Then in the accessory gland we studied prostate, seminal and cowpers. External genitalia we have studied. Spermatogenesis we studied. Structure of the sperm and hormone control and spermatogenesis we have studied. Again, as the rule says, I am going to upload a slide for the promotion slide, okay, for the plus class, and then yes, for the plus class one promotion slide we'll see right now, and then I'll wind up with the class students. Okay, so all of you are requested that you can also go for a joining of the complete, that is syllabus. Complete syllabus can be covered, okay, through this, through the plus classes you see. Okay, along with that we also find tips and tricks of the top educators. Topic wise practice questions will be there. We'll have a full length mock test. Comprehensive batches for Karnataka CET, that is 2021 has already started. You people can join. 1 month subscription, if you see, it is hardly around 2,250 rupees. But if you use my code, above that there will be a 10% of discount which will be provided. If you use my code, then above that there will be a 10% of discount which is going to be provided. Along with that, we can also see, if you go for a 1 year plan, it's a very nominal fee is there, that is 12,375, and you see that 6 months, it's hardly a difference for it. So I would rather suggest you again go for the code, my code, use my code, and you'll get a 10% of flat discount, students, all of you. There are many benefits of using the plus courses. Okay, there are many benefits of using the plus courses, as you can see. Batch completion and everything is going to be very helpful for all of you. Okay, single subscription, unlimited access will be there. These all are some of the very good benefits which we are going to find in the classes. Have you all understood? Okay, so here now we are going to wind up with the class, but before we wind up, all of you students are requested. Shall we solve one more question before we leave? Shall we solve one more question, students? I just want to solve one more question. Shall we go with the questions? Yes. Okay, good student. Okay, let's go with one more question. Let us solve this question. I guess the previous question we have already solved. Yes. Which group of the external genitalia is the external genitalia of the female? Group with the external genitalia of the female. What should be the answer of this question, student? What should be the answer for this question, student? Let's poll. Okay. Okay. So let's poll for this question. Beta, Guru Charan has joined right now. Beta, you have joined a little late. We have completely wounded up with the class Guru Charan, Guru Kiran. Okay. But tomorrow we are going to meet again. We'll have a class that is from 3 to 4. Okay. We'll have a class from 3 to 4. Beta. And that time and 8 to 9. So I have got a complete classes, that is a scheduled classes from 3 to 4 and 8 to 9, which I am going to take every day, 3 to 4 and 8 to 9. Good. Let us see. Very good, students. And the answer absolutely comes out to be yes. The answer comes out to be is the fourth option, labia minora, labium majora and clitoris. That comes out to be the correct answer for every one of us. So this is the actual time. Renuka has also joined. Very good. This is the timing, students. I take the classes. These are the timing, exact timing, fixed timing. In fact, I should say these are the fixed timing, students, which I am generally taking the classes. Have you all understood? This is the fixed timing where generally I take the classes every day. Monday to Sunday, every day the classes are from 3 to 4 afternoon and 8 to 9 evening. These are the fixed classes, students, which I have every day I do. Every day. Not a single day I miss. Monday to Sunday, all the days we are handling the classes. The chapters are very concise. You must be observing, student, the content what I am giving you is very good and very crisp. You need not to break your head a lot. Prepare through this content only. The chapter as well as the questions I am giving you, students. The chapter as well as the questions I am giving you, students, together, and that is going to help you in all entrance exams, and it will be very easy for you to crack the exam, students. You won't face any kind of problem in cracking the exam. That is the main concern for all of you, students. Have you all understood? So if you go through the content, you will find that the content is exactly what is required, not a little more, not a little less. Am I clear, all of you? So we'll meet in the next class, student. Thank you, all of you. Even Guru Kiran, you can come tomorrow, and Renuka, you can also join tomorrow. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you, all of you. See you all in the next class, student. Thank you very much. Yes. You people need not to pay a single rupee from your pocket, and you can utilize completely the classes, and it will be very useful for every one of you, students, if you follow the classes. Similarly, every day I am taking classes for the students on Unacademy. Generally, I follow the timing, that is from 3 to 4 and 8 to 9. 8 to 9 is a fixed time, students, I'll tell you. Night 8 to 9, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. is a fixed timing I take classes for Unacademy students, and that will be very beneficial. So what I have started doing this, I'll be recording the sessions and putting on YouTube, but if you come for a live class, it will be really interactive and useful for all of you. So if you come for the classes, this will generally help every one of you, and this will be properly guiding you through. It will be a guide post, it will be guiding all of you, and will be helping you attain good marks in the coming exam. So let's start it, let's crack it in this way. Prepare nicely for the 2021 or class 12 student as well as class 11 student. We are going to prepare in this way, and I make sure that all students are going to get good marks. So all the best, and all of you, and with Unacademy, let's crack it. Thank you, all of you.